Great run this season. Thanks for letting me be loud as a Hawk fan.
Of course.
I've been a Hawk fan since 1979. Love you guys. Thank you for this great season. Amen.
Amen.
And now, it's time for another episode of the 12-Man Fan Jam Show. A show made by 12s from around the world, for 12s around the world. I'm Mosette, and here is your host and my dad, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Oh, thank you, Mosette. Yes. Welcome to episode 704. The June 2019 edition of your 12-Man Fan Jam Show as we get ready to take on, well, the roster changes for the Seattle Seahawks. So put your tray table up and your seat back in the full upright position. Grab a desired beverage or sit of your choice. And remember, just like June, we are busting out all over with a great show just for you. Let's see who we have in the posse this evening. First, there's our news hound, Shadowhawk Will. Hi, Will.
Hi, Moses. How are you?
Wonderful. How about yourself?
Doing well. You know, just looking forward to a few weeks of relaxation before everything ramps up again and my blood pressure shoots back up through the roof. And
anything exciting the last time we heard from you?
No.
All right. How about Dustin?
Just
Dustin's
typical.
here. Hi, Dustin.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Wonderful, sir. How are you? Anything to share with us?
I'm doing great. This week I started as a supervisor at work, so that's new.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's kind of fun.
Congrats.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, awesome.
The Mariners gig's going pretty well. That's been a lot of fun too.
Still doing the Mariners thing. How's Kona,
Oh,
our
cool.
mascot?
Oh, Kona's pretty awesome. She's
Good.
doing well. She's not in the room right now, which is nice, or she'd be bugging the hell out of me. But
That's good.
She's doing good.
Good. And also we have a special guest in the guest chair this show, marking what I read as his 9th appearance on this show. His Game Buzz comics are weekly pieces of Seahawk heaven. Artist extraordinaire Mike Pascal. Hi, Mike.
Hey, Moses, how the heck are you?
Wonderful, sir. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
Oh, well, thank you for asking as well. What's going on over in the land of California? Anything special going on for you?
Yes, I am pleased to announce the Kickstarter for the collected Game Buzz Treasury book is about to go live. Should be live by the time the show starts.
Yay.
It is subtitled 12 Years of Comics for 12s, and it's the first 12 years worth of strips, except for a couple that have vanished in the cyberspace. And it's
Nice.
268 pages.
Wow.
Full
That's
color.
a lot of buzz. That's a lot of buzz.
Yes,
Cool.
Unfortunately, that's why we need a lot of money for it, but it'll be worth it. It'll be really, really cool.
It'll be totally worth it. And we were talking one time on this show, just to give us an idea on a typical strip that you do, which is 4 panels. A typical strip takes you from beginning to end about how long?
You know, it all depends. It can be, if I can reuse a bunch of artwork and just do the lettering and stuff, it's just, an hour. But if it has a lot of drawing and stuff, then you're talking, 4 to 5 hours.
Man, it takes me like 6 hours to get like half of Buzz drawn. It's amazing. It's amazing comic. Game Buzz, wonderful comic strip.
Thanks,
we're
man.
so glad that Mike has decided to join us. You said you had a funny story to share with us.
Yes. As with any book, it's always good to have a blurb or 2 or 4 on the back cover for promotion stuff. So Mark Ty Turner, friend of the show, was kind enough to give me a very, very complimentary blurb.
Excellent.
And so then I thought, you know what? Let me reach out to the Seattle Times. About a year and a half ago, I had actually emailed their sports editor to see if they wanted to use a strip. And I got back a terse, thanks for the offer, but we'll pass.
Oh.
That's all they said. Okay, no problem. They told me what I could improve or to make it more appealing. That would have been great, but okay, so they're not interested. But because it's a comedy book, what better to put on the back cover than a rejection, right?
Nice.
So wouldn't that be cool to put that on there? Thanks for the
Yes.
offer, but we're going to pass. Right? So I thought I'd be a professional, though, and ask the gentleman's permission, because I'd like to use his name and the name of the paper. So I email him, hey, a year and a half ago, you sent me a quote regarding my strip. I was wondering if I could use it. I didn't tell him what it was. He emails me back, what was the quote? I can't remember. So I sent it back. Here's the quote. So he takes the time to email me back, that's the quote you want to use? That we're going to pass? So I emailed him back, yes. I said, it is a comedy book, after all. So then he writes back, I'd rather not. Please go with someone else, but thanks for asking.
Well, at least you got that.
Okay, so now I'm like, I got to say something. So I didn't want to be a jerk. I was like, we just went back and forth, and for all that, you couldn't even, say yes. So I emailed him back and I said, I just want to thank you for your generosity and your good sense of humor. So then he writes back, I'm not joking, right? I really don't want you to use it.
Yes.
So now this is going to be great because I won't use his name, but I will put a large metropolitan newspaper. And I'll let the fans decide what city it is.
Yes, exactly. It could have been the LA Times. You don't know.
Nice.
Who knows?
Oh, awesome. That's all. I can't wait for that book to come out. That's going to be a fantastic book. And of course, we will share that on this show a lot during the season.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Of course. Everything you do for us. His is your 9th appearance. This is our 155th episode, by the way, if you can believe that. And we'll keep trying to do this until we do it right. Mosette right now is telling the guys before we started is at the 21 Pilots concert, even as we speak at this very moment. Dustin, you know the 21 Pilots, I take it.
I do, yeah. I like the band.
Yeah. Will, anything on the 21 Pilots?
I've heard of the name, but that's about it.
Well, you know the strangest thing, Mike, about 21 Pilots? There's only 2 of them.
What's that?
There's only 2. I don't know.
I was just going to say I stopped following after 15.
Yeah, they kind of have an unusual sound.
They do.
There's a little bit of their techno, whatever you want to call it. All right, so that's
that song
is this
from
the
Suicide Squad soundtrack. So if you
That's
watch
from the
that movie,
Suicide
that's the
Squad.
song that plays during the credits.
Yeah, that's from Suicide Squad movie. But so she's up doing that, but we're here doing this, and while we're doing that, let's figure out how this show is going to go. Sweet. All right, let's go. This show is run like a real NFL football game, 4 quarters and a halftime. Quarter 1 will catch us up on some great news stories, I'm sure. Quarter 2, we are going to talk about Doug Baldwin when he retired since our last show, and we're going to share stories and thoughts about Angry Doug. Halftime is, of course, the best Seahawk-themed internet trivia game. It is 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia.
Otherworld.
And
I was waiting for Dustin on that one.
I can't remember who won the last one, but
that would be me.
That would be you, yeah. I knew it wasn't Dustin.
That was my one per season.
That was your one per season. So we'll see who wins tonight, because now I will tell you that, Mike, in your 8 appearances previously, you've won like 3 or 4, so you are pretty good at this.
I'm not too bad, I guess.
Yeah, you're
I just
not
get
too
lucky.
bad. You're not too
That's
bad.
a good percentage.
Yeah, quarter 3 is free agency departures, those that have left our building since free agency. And quarter 4 is those who have arrived or re-signed with us. Not us, the Seahawks. And also throughout the show, we're going to have off-season NFL trades that actually didn't happen. These are NFL trades that came close to happening but actually didn't. And I think real quick, I have one here right now. That's our theme song. NFL trades that almost but didn't quite happen. The Giants almost traded Saquon Barkley to the Steelers for a couple of Magic Beans and a 1977 Chevy Camaro. So did not happen.
It could have been an Autobot.
Could have been. But enough of that.
You never
and let's
know.
get to news. Yes, it is time for news around the NFL with our news hound, Will. It's the 12-Man Fan Jam Show News Report, brought to you by this week's sponsor, the Doug Baldwin Restaurant, Looking for a place where the food is pedestrian and the atmosphere is just aight? Well, don't eat at the Doug Baldwin restaurant because the food here is always severely underrated and the atmosphere, let's just say, it gets heated sometimes, but only when it's told the food is just average. It's the Doug Baldwin restaurant. Will, what you got for us?
Well, Moses, I think a lot of us have enjoyed watching Alvin Kamara play the last couple of years,
Yes.
running back for the Saints. Very talented young man.
He is.
And it looks like another GM might have lost out on him because they were judging a book by its cover. Kamara has a very distinct appearance, what with the grills, the piercings, and all of that. Mm-hmm. And, of course, the tattoos. Well, he recently spoke with Andrew Hawkins of uninterrupted.com about a pre-draft meeting he had with an undisclosed GM who didn't end up drafting him. Quote, I had a team before I went into a meeting. One of the guys came up to me and was like, well, you're about to go in with the GM, so, he really doesn't understand the nose rings and things like that. So you might want to, can you take them out or tuck them? And I was like, no. Basically, if you don't understand it or don't like it, then you don't need to draft me. It wouldn't be a good choice to draft me. Ooh. And that GM didn't. But fortunately for the Saints, their GM did. So
wow.
No idea which GM that was, but you got to think he's kicking himself a little bit.
Never judge a book by its cover.
Good for Kamara, because would you really want to work for a dude like that?
Exactly.
Yeah. No, thank you. Good for him.
That's sad in this world, but there it is. That's sad that in the NFL they have to deal with that because it seems like everybody's got, long hair and tattoos and rings, and I mean, it's just part of the norm.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of people just don't think it's a professional look, that kind of stuff, though. It's like old school mentality.
Yeah.
That's what it is. The tattoos and like face piercings and stuff. That's all it is.
Yeah, I still have to maintain my stance against nipple rings for NFL players, though. I call it the David Boston rule, but if you're going to play football and you have nipple rings, you might want to take those out.
There are other things that should never be pierced, but let's not. I don't want to,
But I mean, you can't even go to a McDonald's now without seeing an employee that's covered with tattoos.
Oh yeah,
somewhere. I mean, it's kind of almost normal now.
And maybe they're the best employee there. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We used to tell a story.
Just give me my Egg McMuffin and whatever. I don't care.
The is not messed up.
When I was a banker, we used to tell a story about a guy in New York that dressed like a bum, and he went in, and the guy was treating him like garbage. He said to the teller, "If you don't stop being rude to me, I'm going to take my money and leave." And he did. He took his $6 million and he went down the street. And that's always a lesson about, don't judge a book by its cover because you don't know anything by looking at somebody.
Yeah.
Was that Elon Musk?
That's when he was getting started. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
right. Yeah, that's what I figured.
Will, what else you got for us? I got kind of deep in that one.
Well, Moses, to quote the late great George Carlin, something else we all have in common. Flying on the airlines. And more importantly, Cam Newton's latest plane flight, which didn't go quite the way he was expecting. The Panthers quarterback was in France recently and was flying back from Paris and missed his original flight. Had a business class ticket for that one. Got on another flight and did not have a business class seat on that. He was just in coach. And if you've never seen Cam Newton, he's a fairly large individual. So he went back, found somebody in a front row seat in coach that had a little bit more leg room, and offered him $1,500 for the seat.
No, come on.
Wow.
Excuse me.
And this was all recorded, actually, and put on Twitter. Mm-hmm. The man refused. He said, "Nope, I'm sorry, I'm keeping my seat."
And it was hilarious.
So Cam Newton got stuck with a regular coach seat for a 10-hour flight from France back to Charlotte. And as somebody who has been crammed into far too many tiny plane seats,
been there.
You want my legroom seat? You better pony up a hell of a lot more than $1,500.
Oh my God, that is awesome! That guy, I'm buying that guy a beer.
I know. Cam Newton's like 6'6", so he sits in those coach seats. Man, his knees are going to be about to his chest
for 10 hours.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's awesome. Matt would love that story. Matt, I know you're you're listening right now, and you would love that story. By the way, Matt is not here, and neither is Mark. Both of them are on the mend, so we hope they both get better real soon. Wow, that I sat in one nonstop from Indianapolis to Seattle, and that was enough of that. I paid extra to get better seats because I said I'm not going through that again, and I'm just fat.
I wonder if that dude knew that was Cam Newton, or even knew who Cam Newton was. I mean, I would have said no.
It's a good question. I'm not sure.
But...
Yeah. Maybe if he did, it's even better. You're right. Maybe he didn't know, but I hope he did.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope he's like, hell no, I ain't giving Cam Newton my damn seat.
Or maybe he said go Hawks when he walked away.
If he'd offered me enough money to give up the seat, I would have gotten up and then run around with my finger up, smiling like Newton did when the Hawks played the Panthers last year before we came back and beat them.
Yes, what you did out in the street when we won. The fly. Yes, very nice. Nice form on that, Will, by the way. Awesome. Thank you, Will, for the news.
Anytime, Moses.
And that's the end of the first quarter.
It's the end of the first quarter, bitches.
All right, coming up on this June edition of your 12-Man Fan Jam show, we remember Doug Baldwin, and we're going to do just that right after this.
You're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam show, a Seahawk Positivity production.
I've got a good mind to slap your fat face. You are destroying your life with that garbage.
Holy shit, it's the second quarter.
All right, your second quarter of the June 2019 episode of your 12-Man Fan Jam show. We've Never Been Called Pedestrian by Chris Carter. All right. We have kind of unintentionally on this show, I realized, created our own 12-Man Fan Jam show Ring of Honor of players who have retired from the Seahawks, because we've devoted a whole quarter to Cortez Kennedy and Cam Chancellor and Marshawn Lynch and Kenny Easley. And so in this show, we kind of, I guess you could say, intentionally bring Doug Baldwin into our own little personal Ring of Honor. Doug Baldwin, since the last show, had officially decided to retire, and I felt like he deserved a spot on our show. He deserved a quarter because of what he has done for our franchise in the years that he played. And so I just wanted to kind of take a second quarter and just kind of recognize his contributions to the Seahawks, to the NFL, to the world. Dustin, you want to share one of your stories? You have a short stories or two about Doug, don't you?
Yeah, I got a couple about Doug. Once upon a time, Dennis, myself, and Lamp, we were all part of a website that would have an annual get-together every year, and we would always do these raffles for that website, and it helped pay for maintenance on the website, kept it running and whatnot, so we'd always auction off Seahawks items. So I was a moderator, and I was at the Seahawks Pro Shop with a couple of the other moderators. And we're walking around trying to figure out what we could buy. And I look over and I see this guy walk by. And instantly I knew that was Doug Baldwin. It was his rookie season. He hadn't been on the team long. I told the other guys, I was like, hey, do you see who that was? I'm like, no, who's that? I was like, that's Doug Baldwin. And they're like, oh, seriously? Yeah. So I went up to Doug and I asked him, I was like, hey, if we buy your jersey right now, would you autograph it for us? I explained to him what we're doing. And he's like, absolutely. So went, bought Doug Baldwin's jersey. He signed it right there on the counter at the pro shop, and then we auctioned it off. I actually won the jersey, and I ended up giving it away to somebody else. But
the fix was in.
Yeah, but I mailed it to somebody else who couldn't make the event. But yeah, Doug he was just a stand-up guy, very nice.
Now, was that his 15 then?
It's been so long, I don't remember.
Because he didn't change 15 until Flynn showed up. Because that's part of my connection with him was that yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, he had 15 his first year because Carlson was on the team still in 2011, and he had 89.
Yeah, he said he gave it to Flynn. I said I remember I actually tweeted whatever you say on the social media about that, and he responded, "Hey, just help it out where I can," which is where my connection is. I'll let you guys talk. My connection with Doug Baldwin has to do with basketball, which I know that's weird. You know but no matter how famous he got, especially in the early part of his career, he was a big Miami Heat fan, and of course I was an Indiana Pacer fan. And the Pacers and the Heat, when the Heat had LeBron and they had Wade and they had Bosh and the Dream Team, were always seeming to face the Pacers in the playoffs, either in the finals or close to the finals, or, always crossing paths. And so one time as a joke, I saw him saying, hashtag Heat. So I wrote back to him particularly, and I put hashtag Pacers, to which I got no, hashtag Heat. And we kind of toyed around a little bit. And for 2 years, I even sent him pictures of my kids wearing Pacers stuff. And he responded every time I tweeted him. He would always trash talk back a little bit. That was the coolest thing in the world. It took 2 seconds for him to do that. But that's something I'll never forget, is trash talking about the Heat and the Pacers with Doug Baldwin. To me,
how long ago was that?
Well, it was when the Heat had they had LeBron and they had Dwayne Wade and they had that crew. So he was very much a part of it. It was after. I mean, he was a viable part of the team when that was all going on. It might have even been around the Super Bowl time even. And
awesome.
I remember that. And then my playing memory, and I'll let the rest of you talk. My playing memory is when he was 15, and I want to say it was the Rams or the Eagles. He took a reverse kickoff to the fourth. He blocked a punt, and then he caught the touchdown pass. And then the next play was the kickoff, or we got our next kickoff. For some reason, we got a kickoff. I don't know. It was a reverse to him, and he took it to midfield. I'm like, this kid is doing everything tonight. And do you remember that game, anybody?
Yeah, Rams game.
Was it a Rams game? Okay.
Yep.
And that's something he always did. I thought was always underrated, was his special teams, especially punts. Which
that was a Monday night game too. So the whole country was like, "Who the hell is this guy?"
And we were like that because he was number 15. It was his rookie year. And we're like, this kid is really, and that's what when I think of Doug Baldwin, that's what I think of, somebody that is just going to do whatever he can to help the team. And how can you not root for a guy like that? But Mike, what are your thoughts on Doug?
I wish I had some kind of personal interaction. I don't. I just loved watching him. What sticks in my mind are the numerous catches. He was just famous for those sideline moves where he would just get the tippy part of his toes, inbounds. And then a couple of times when Russ was on the run and threw it low, and Doug was in there and just barely scraped his fingers underneath the ball on the grass and made the catch instead of it being out of bounds. He just, he's made a bunch of those, and he just made it look easy.
Spectacular. He made the extraordinary and the ordinary for sure. And just a really, he didn't earn a spot. He was undrafted. He had to earn his way on the team. He had to earn his way to get to where he was. And it made him scrappy. It made him have a chip on his shoulder. He should have. He wasn't the first round pick.
With Dion? Is that all right now?
Yeah, we all right.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I mean, that's
shut up, Dion.
I thought that was great when he said that stuff. Will, what about you?
Well, like Mike, I don't have any personal connection with Doug, but just watching the guy play, and from his rookie year, some guys you just look at them and you know that they're gonna do great. They're just busting their butt every play. They're making plays. And with Doug, it was like that the whole time. I mean, beginning of his second year, that game in Arizona where he tries to go up for the game-winning pass, he gets belted in the mouth and breaks his two front teeth in half.
Yes.
The long punt return in the NFC Championship game against the 49ers when the game was still in the balance. There's just so many memories of Doug Baldwin, that incredible one-handed catch against Minnesota in the Ice Station Zebra Bowl. And even in his last ever game, as it turns out, that playoff game against the Cowboys, that over-the-shoulder catch where you're just like, how on earth could he possibly make the catch and get the feet in?
Crazy.
But it's just, as much as I hate to see him hang up his cleats, though, I'm glad he's getting out now rather than trying to push it for one more year and then maybe affecting his quality of life.
Yes.
So, this guy, with what he's done outside of football, working for police reform, other things, he's going to have a very, very bright future in whatever he wants to do. And,
absolutely.
I'm going to miss him, though.
Yeah, me too.
He was never afraid to say what he thought, and I love the way he always, you could tell it was always a well thought out answer. It was never I mean, he just always had a very well thought out opinion and listened to the other side and tried to get them to understand his side. And that's really what it's all about. He's one that is high on my list of, if you could just sit down and have, an hour discussion with, because that hour discussion would be about 2 minutes about the Seahawks. There'd be 58 minutes about society, about relations, about things that, and I would love to hear, and I have heard just the way he holds his opinions and his voice. He's such a wonderful, wonderful guy. He's such a great contributor to the whole world, the whole world, not just Seahawk football.
He did a lot for kids too. I remember I've told the story on here a couple times about my kids walking out onto the field to practice, and Golden Tate running by and tickling Zachary, and he had no idea what happened. I was like, "Oh, it's Golden Tate. He got you." Well, the second part of that story that I don't know if I've told or not is that we were going out there with the kids club and sitting down because Doug Baldwin was going to come over and talk to the kids and address them. And his big message there, he asked the kids what the most important thing they could do is, and a lot of them are thinking football. They're like, catch the ball or protect the ball, block, all that kind of stuff, run fast for the important things. And Doug Baldwin's like, education. The most important thing you can do is get your education. Study hard, work hard, learn as much as you can, and then worry about the sports.
Yep.
So,
nice.
Yeah,
Great.
that guy, he was great.
And I'll tell you, Moses, I'm willing to bet that he was not always the easiest teammate, not always the easiest person to work with, because he has very strong opinions and he demands perfection from himself and everyone around him.
Yes.
And that's going to be a problem sometimes. It's going to cause some friction. Sure. But I would take a guy like that any day over someone who is just showing up to collect a paycheck.
Amen.
I mean, he made that team better on the field and in the locker room.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And he was always coaching. He was always talking. He was always building people up on the team. He was always, you're right. He wasn't the easiest to work with, I'm sure, but man, I'd take that any day. Someone who cares deeply.
I would take it over someone that was a star and acted like one and just, like a TO and then just disrupted everything.
Right.
I'll take Doug any day.
Or Percy Harvin.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yep. Any final thoughts? I think we've done him a great service. Yes. I think he's deserving of all this. And so best wishes. I know we haven't seen the end of him. I look forward to seeing him. I know he's already done some things up in Seattle. Ironically, with teachers, which is a fellow educator myself. I kind of like that, but I know that we'll continue to see him, and I hope we do. So for everything he did for our team, he is in our ring of honor, so to speak. Doug Baldwin, our fifth person. So congratulations, Doug. Not that you'll ever know, but you are in our ring of honor. And before we go to break there, it looks like maybe another possible trade that didn't happen. Do you have one, Mike? Is there?
Yes, I do, actually.
Right. Wait for the theme song. And now Mike Pascal with the news. Mike, what do you got?
The Browns wanted to trade to Buffalo for linebacker Tyrell Dodson and 49ers linebacker Reuben Foster, who both were arrested for domestic violence, so that this way Kareem Hunt would have someone to pal around with.
Oh, no!
Ooh.
Yikes.
Oh, no!
But it didn't work.
Well, I saw that the Seahawks almost traded Jermaine Ifedi to the Browns for a bucket of Hubba Bubba and a lifetime free admission to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for Pete Carroll. That didn't also trade. Those are trades that didn't happen, and this is halftime.
Holy shit, it's halftime.
All right. Oh, we're just halfway through this jam-packed June 2019 episode. So many more questions left. What do we think about the Seahawks who left the team this offseason? What do we think about the ones that came and re-signed or the new arrivals? And what exactly is busting out all over, and is there a cream for it? Yes, more answers on these and so many other questions, but right now, it's time to take a small break from all that and have the posse square off in another rousing rendition of 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia
of the world!
And that's coming up next!
You're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show. a Seahawk Positivity production.
Yes, it's halftime, and welcome to another fun-filled edition of the best play-along Seahawk-themed trivia game show on the internet. It's time for 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia. And here's your host, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity. Oh, thank you, me. Welcome to another fine 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia. Of the world! The trivia game that tests the knowledge of both our posse and our listeners. Our contestants are the posse themselves, Dustin, Will, and Mike Pascal. And here are the little happy rules. So here's how the trivia game works. There'll be 2 rounds of questions. Each contestant answers 1 question each round. If they get it correct, they get 1 point. After 2 rounds of questions, there'll be a final trivia question worth 2 points. If there's a tie after that, then the tie players go on to a special secret overtime question where the winner becomes reigning 12-man Fan Jam Show Trivia Champion and also gets a prize chosen especially for them. As an added bonus to those listening on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel, the questions and possible answers will be displayed on your screen so you, the viewer and listener, can play along as well. If you do, please let us know how you did on the questions. Remember, there's no Googling, no phone a friend, and please, no wagering. However, there is a lifeline. Before taping this show, my 2 charming Seahawk fan children, Mosette and Little Mo, did take the quiz as well. If the contestants want to know what the kids said, they can ask that but once and only once during the entire game show and only in the first 2 rounds. Now let's get ready to play 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia. All right, you know the rules. No Googling, no phone a friend, no wagering, no Bing, no Siri, no looking up anything. All right, hey.
No.
Right, I'll see you later. There's my ride. I'll see you later. No. The first 3 questions are going to be about people leaving. So, the Seahawks, actually. Mike Pascal, 1, 2, or 3?
2, please.
Will, 1 or 3?
I'll take 1.
All right, and
I'll go with 3.
Nice choice, Dustin.
Thank you.
Will, here you go. All right, your question, Will, is about Brett Hundley. When Brett Hundley left UCLA, he had more passing touchdowns than anyone else in UCLA football history. That's amazing. Who did he beat to become the leader in all-time touchdown passes in UCLA? Was it Troy Aikman, Tommy Maddox, or Cade McNown? Can you believe we're having that discussion? Brett Hundley beat who in UCLA as most touchdowns? Was it Troy Aikman, Tommy Maddox, or Cade McNown? Remember touchdown Tommy?
Yeah, I remember Cade McNown, too, for about 5 minutes.
And Troy Aikman. We all know Troy Aikman. So which one of those guys did he beat out to be the all-time touchdown pass leader in UCLA?
Well, given what Brett Hundley has done at the professional level after setting that record, I'm going to go with another quarterback who had a similar success at the pro level and say Cade McNown.
Perfect reasoning.
Yeah, you can't argue with the reasoning. Let's see. Little Mo said touchdown Tommy Maddox. And Alexa said Troy Aikman. You said Cade McNown. Yes!
Nice job.
Cade McNown with 68 touchdown passes. Troy Aikman only 41. Tommy Maddox only 33.
Wow.
Will is on the board.
See, that was McNown's problem. He threw all of his touchdowns before he got to the pros.
Right.
Blew his arm out. Yeah.
He didn't have any left.
When you said Maddox, I was thinking the baseball player. Tommy Maddox played for the Steelers.
Oh, yeah.
Steelers.
Well, he was
there was a
drafted by
Tommy
the
Maddox.
Broncos first. Yeah. They wanted him to be the heir apparent to John Elway,
Played
and
for
then
the
ended up
Steelers.
with Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and the XFL. He was the star of the XFL. Mike.
Yes, sir.
Justin Coleman, who used to play defensive back for us, he went to the University of Tennessee.
Okay.
In what year did the Grand Ole Opry start broadcasting on Friday and Saturday nights?
Oh, for heaven's sake.
1920, 1925, or 1930?
Man, I wish Matt could have gotten that question.
Yeah.
Dance!
When did they start broadcasting? So you're talking radio, obviously, right?
Yeah.
All right.
1920, 1925, 1930.
Yeah, I don't. 20 seems earlier.
It is earlier.
I gotta go with 30. I gotta go with 30.
You gotta go with 30. You gotta go with 30.
That was the year my mom was born.
Oh, yeah, that's nice. You gotta go with 30, he says. Well, little Mo went with 20, and Mosette also went with 20. You went with 30.
Uh-oh.
Nah. 25.
25. I knew it. That was my second choice. Damn it.
Dustin, this might be my favorite question we've ever had.
Oh, that's not good for me.
It's about J.R. Sweezy. Now,
not easy being Sweezy.
I bet you didn't know that in the Urban Dictionary, something is a Sweezy.
Oh, no.
So my question to you is, according to the Urban Dictionary, what is a Sweezy? Is it something awesome, something difficult, or something too easy to do? What is a Sweezy according to the Urban Dictionary? Something awesome, something difficult, or something too easy to do?
Well, first of all, I just want to throw this out there. It goes, of the world!
Well, you didn't do it, so somebody else had to put their own spin on it.
I didn't have time. He was on it quick.
Hey, man, move it or lose
nice
it.
job,
I'm
Bill.
telling you,
Nice
Mike's been
job.
after this. Mike's been after this position in trivia for a long time, taking your spot.
He's gunning for your job, Dustin.
He is, man.
All right.
That question is
All right,
a
real quick,
Sweezy,
can you
I'll tell
repeat
you
the
that.
answers? Because I was
Sure.
thinking about doing that.
Yeah, I understand. According to the Urban Dictionary, what is a Sweezy? Something awesome, something difficult, or something too easy to do?
Those are awfully
probably
prosaic
something
choices for
awesome.
the Urban Dictionary.
I'm sorry, what?
Said probably something awesome. That's my guess.
Okay, probably something. Everything is awesome. Probably something awesome. Well, Little Mo said something easy to do, and Mosette said something difficult. You said something awesome. You're right. You're awesome.
Wow.
Something Sweezy is something awesome.
Sweet and
Little
easy.
Mo was getting Sweezy and Peasy mixed up, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Sweezy peasy.
Okay, Will and Dustin at 1, Mike at 0, so 4, 5, and 6. These are people who have it has to do with the dearly departed, those who have left us. No, these are the ones that have arrived or resigned. I apologize.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. Will, 4, 5, or 6?
5.
Okay, Dustin, 4, 6.
6.
All right.
I'll go with 4.
All right. Mike's going to go with 4. Mike, your question is about our kicker, Jason Myers.
Oh, good.
Jason Myers did rather extensive work in the Arena Football League.
Uh-oh.
So what I want to know for you is the team that Jason Myers did not kick for. He kicked for 2 of these 3. Which one did he not kick for? The Arizona Rattlers, the Columbus Destroyers, or the San Jose Sabercats? Which
Are
one
Are
did
these
he
New
not?
all
York
teams,
Jets.
or is one of them...
These are all real teams.
Okay. What are the
The
choices
Arena
again?
Football League is still around?
Yeah, some of these teams aren't around anymore. In fact, I don't think any of these teams are actually around anymore, but
Oh, wow.
they were all in the league at one time. What team did he not kick for?
Okay.
The Arizona
Okay.
Rattlers, the Columbus Destroyers, or the San Jose Sabercats?
I like those names.
How cool is that?
I got to go with the alliteration because of the Seahawks. So, Sabercats.
You're going with the Sabercats.
Yeah, man.
All right. I love that name. That is such a
Come
cool
on,
name.
Mhm.
Little Mo said the Destroyers. And Mosette said the Sabercats. And you said the Sabercats.
All right. What was that?
No.
Oh, man.
The Columbus Destroyers. He kicked for the Rattlers. And he kicked for the Sabercats.
Bringing
Yeah.
up the rear.
Should we be concerned that these teams he's kicking for no longer exist?
No.
this-
No.
Yeah,
don't give it-
they're like the Jets.
Will, yours is a question here. It's going to have a musical answer. We did sign Ziggy Ansah. Is that right? Ansah?
Yep.
Anyway, Ziggy?
I think it's
Ansah,
Ansah.
Yep.
We
Yeah,
signed
he's got
Ziggy.
he's got all the answers.
So, Will, my question to
Ezekiel.
you
Oh, dear.
is, where did Ziggy Stardust spiders come from? Did they come from Mars, the Moon, or Venus? Where did Ziggy
Oh.
Stardust spiders come from? I knew Mike would have got this. Did they
Too
come
easy.
from Mars, the Moon, or Venus?
I don't even know what that means.
I'm going to ask the kids, because why not? Why should I
Okay.
be the only one befuddled?
Well, Little Mo said Mars. Mosette said the moon. Nobody said Venus. Where did Ziggy Stardust spiders come from? Mars, the moon, or Venus?
I don't know. Maybe they went up there when we faked the moon landing, so I'm going to go with the moon.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, to present the answer to this question is David Bowie himself. David, tell us the answer, please. Listen carefully. Right here. They were from Mars, baby.
Yes! God,
the spiders were from Mars.
I'm not even a Bowie fan, and I know that.
Oh, Ziggy Stardust and the spiders from Mars.
I don't know where they came from, but I know I've got one in my screen door right about now.
All right.
Go back to Mars, dickhead.
Oh, is that,
Get out of here.
the spider, I hope?
Yes.
America.
Did it turn? Okay. Dustin.
Yeah.
We have Geno Smith on our team now.
I'm sorry, what?
We have Geno Smith on our team now.
Yeah, that was my reaction, too.
So my question to you, he was drafted in the 2013 NFL draft. How many quarterbacks were drafted ahead of Geno Smith in the 2013 NFL draft? 1, 2, or 3? How many quarterbacks were drafted ahead of Geno Smith in the 2013 NFL draft? 1, 2, or 3?
Yeah, I have no idea.
You have no idea?
I'm pretty sure he went to Buffalo, if I remember correctly, but I don't know. I'll say 1.
I'll say 1. What the hell? You know, Moses
Did he go
said
to Buffalo?
No. Moses said 3. And Mosette said 1, and you said 1. Yeah, and it was E.J. Manuel who went to Buffalo. E.J. went to Buffalo.
Oh, but he went to Buffalo. Okay.
Yeah.
Gino went to New York.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Well, Buffalo's in New York technically, so
Wow.
I guess I was right in a way.
Dustin is back on it. But Dustin is back on a tear, y'all. What's wrong with this kid? Seriously. We'll find out as the score is right now as we stand. Dustin with 2, Will with 1, Mike with 0, but it is time for our final question. Final question. High or low, the closest without going over gets 2 points. There is a chance for a tie. And of course, if everyone's over, whoever's the closest gets this. The order is easy to figure out. So here's how it goes. Mike will go first. Will go second. Dustin will go third. And here is your question. Gentlemen, are you ready?
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah.
All right, Mike. You start us off. It's about Doug Baldwin.
Good.
How many yards receiving did Doug Baldwin have for the Stanford Cardinal? For Stanford. How many yards receiving did Doug Baldwin have?
For his whole stay there?
Career college receiving yards.
Oh, boy. Do you know how many years he went there? Or played?
No, I'm not sure.
Oh, crap. All right.
I cannot recall.
I'm going to go with... I'll go with 500.
Mike goes with 500. Will.
Let's see. 1,839.
Uh-oh.
1,000.
Google.
I just like it because it's not like 5. It's like 500. It's like 1,839. Like it's this weird number.
Well,
if I carry the 2.
If I pick a random number, it increases the odds that I end up being 1 over, like I've done several times already.
We do the trivia gami, which, okay, 518.39. Dustin, where are you gonna put your number?
I don't know, what's the number between 18 and 5, like dead middle? What is that, like 1,200, 1,300?
I don't know.
I'll say 1,200. I'll say 1,200.
Let's say 1,200. All right. So we have 500. We have 1,200, and we have 1839.
Wasn't exactly in the middle.
No, it's not. The yards receiving Doug Baldwin had for Stanford Cardinal is 1,360.
Oh!
Thundercats ho, baby!
Oh!
Again!
Wow.
Dustin is your 12-Man Fan Jam Show halftime trivia champion.
Congratulations,
world.
Man. And he gets it back. Of the world.
He gets it back.
Congratulations, Dustin.
Thank you. Good job, everybody.
Good job, everybody. Well done. Well played, everybody. And it always is a wonderful, crowd-pleasing, heart-stopping, award-winning edition of the 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia.
Otherworld.
Otherworld. We'll be back with the second half of this show, and we'll do that right after the Thundercats take us to break. Take us to break.
You're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show, a Seahawk Positivity production.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Holy shit, it's the third quarter.
Oh, welcome to the third quarter of this 12-Man Fan Jam Show. Hey, you! Yes, you sitting in the summer sun getting sun poisoning. Like, share, subscribe to the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel. Join our Facebook group, 12-Man Fan Jam Show. Join us on iTunes. Join us on Podbean. Do it now.
No.
Before I start to peel. Ow! Too late, I'm already peeling. All right. Hey, congratulations to Dustin again. Trivia winner at halftime.
Good job,
yes,
Dustin.
The crowd went wild. Yay.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well done, Dustin. But before we talk about those who have left our team between free agency and camp, I believe there's I see. It's just, yep. Some breaking news. NFL offseason trades that did not happen. Mike Pascal, what did you find?
Well, believe it or not, the Dolphins actually tried to trade for Brady from the Patriots
You're kidding.
by giving them the cloak of invisibility from Harry Potter so that Belichick could spy on other teams unnoticed.
Oh.
But they could not get their hands on it.
No, I couldn't find it.
Yeah,
Yep,
Belichick
that's
wanted
exactly
the Elder
right.
Wand anyway.
It's invisible.
Well, you know, it's funny. I have one. The Dolphins actually called the Giants to inquire about Charles Barkley because they heard he's a running back for you guys and he's pretty good. And can we have him? And they didn't answer the phone call. I think they got the wrong Barkley there. But anyway, we move on and talk about the second half of this show. We're going to talk about our departures and our arrivals in the third quarter. Camp creeps ever closer, July 25th. Some here on the screen, if you're watching on YouTube, are some of those departures. Not all of them, but some of them. You look at this list, Dustin, since you were the trivia champ. What's the name on there that you think is going to be either a devastating loss or a surprising loss to you?
Honestly, the only real I'm actually cool with all of them. To be
All
honest.
right.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
The,
Well,
the one I would say, if we spin it a different way, I'd say I'll miss Mike Davis because I liked watching him run. He was he was a strong runner, and I love watching the guy play.
Sure.
But I think that the fact that we were able to let him go says a lot about the confidence the team has in the running back still on the roster. So,
buddy, you can spin this any way you want to.
oh, thanks, appreciate it.
Any way you want it, that's the way we need it. So if that's what you want to talk about, I miss Mike Davis because of the way he ran. I'll give you that one. Well,
Thank you.
is there anybody on there you want to talk about on that list? Let's just throw it out there. Hey, you have feelings for anybody there? You want to marry anybody on that list? What's going on?
No.
Okay.
But,
They're all rich.
I need more than that, Dustin. No. No, but how about Justin Coleman?
Yeah.
Got the guy for a 7th-round draft pick before the season a couple of years ago. Turned into one of the best slot cornerbacks in the league.
Yes.
I don't blame Seattle for letting him go to Detroit because the contract he signed was, well earned, but it's not anything that we were going to pay.
Yeah.
So, and given offense in today's NFL, slot cornerbacks pretty much as important as your starting cornerbacks. So until we get that position filled, have a definitive answer at slot corner, we've got a lot of guys that may be able to play in the slot and do well. A couple rookies that have a chance to play some slot corner, but until that gets sorted out, it's going to be a question mark. So we knew what we had in Coleman, and he was good, and well, now he's gone. So
Good. Now he's gone. Now he's gone. What about you, Mike? You see anybody that?
Well, I know we did pretty good on offense last year, but I think Sweezy might be noticed as far as missing because I don't know. I liked him. I thought he usually did pretty well, and I still don't think our offensive line is where I'd like it to be. I'm still not comfortable.
And it's funny because he left and did not do real well, and then came back here, and it was like he never left. Like he was a part of that offensive line from the Super Bowl, and he just really seemed to do well here in Seattle for some reason. So that's strange.
I was definitely proven wrong about him last season. When they brought him back.
Oh yeah.
I thought he'd been injured and whatnot, hadn't played much. When he came back, I thought for sure it was just like a body for camp, and he wasn't going to make the team.
Sure.
Like physically, he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And he proved wrong. He proved me wrong.
Yeah, he had a great season last year. Obviously there's the elephant in the room, Earl Thomas, but for me, Brett Hundley, the thing about Brett Hundley is that I felt like he was the type of quarterback that should be backing up Russell Wilson. I feel like if Brett had come in the game, they could have used a similar type of offense that they use with Russell. Similar, he's kind of speedy, he's kind of elusive, good arm. I just felt like I liked having him. I know he went to Arizona. He thinks he's going to have a chance there, and he might. And he's a good backup for Terry Murray while he's down there. But I just felt like he was I like when we have backup quarterbacks that are, I don't want to say they're Russell Wilson, but they're Russell Wilson-ish in that they're elusive and that they can run and they can still pocket pass. And I felt like he fit that mold. So I'm a little bit, disappointed in that.
Similar style, so the scheme doesn't have to change.
Yes.
An egregious amount to function. Yeah.
Ooh, egregious. Whoa, check out the big brains on Dustin. Egregious. What the hell are you drinking, man?
He can't math, but he can vocabularize.
But you can't.
It's rum. Rum makes you smart, guys.
Rum makes you smart.
But why is the rum gone?
Can you spell that?
RUM.
Perfect. All right. And with that, I
well
think
played, sir.
We'll end the third quarter.
It's the end of the third quarter, bitches.
All right, coming up next, we have the new arrivals and re-signings to the Seahawks. You're listening to 12-Man Fan Jam Show. All Seahawks, some of the time. We'll be right back after this.
You're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show, a Seahawk Positivity production.
Are we having fun yet?
Holy shit, it's the fourth quarter.
Hey, it is the fourth and final quarter of episode 704 of the 12-Man Fan Jam Show. Your place for Seahawk fun all the time. I don't know what I said. Did I say fun or fun? Fun. Your place for Seahawk fun.
Either or,
something. Hey, let's look at some of the re-signings and new arrivals to the Seahawks. Here's a list if you are watching on YouTube. Will, what are your thoughts there? Who's one you're glad we re-signed, or one that you're glad it's in the Seahawk fold as we head to camp?
Well, one guy I'm really going to be watching and really hoping he's going to pan out is Al Woods.
Yeah.
There's one of the things that frustrated me last year was our run defense took a step back, and I expected we'd have some issues on, getting to the passer, but the way we gave up too many running yards for my liking, and obviously for Pete's liking. I was thinking Danny Shelton may be an option, and he was available for a while, but we went in a different direction. And we actually had Woods on the team briefly about 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Has bounced around the league a little bit. It's played well in some schemes, not so well in others. It sounds like he's a good fit for the scheme that we're running, so I'm hoping that he can be the run stuffer we haven't really had since Brandon Meebane left.
That's a great pick. That's a great pick. Dustin, is there anybody on here that tickles your fancy?
I mean, I haven't paid him to, but
that's good. You'd be admitting to a crime otherwise.
Right. Yeah, there's a couple guys that I think are, if nothing else, interesting names. With the quarterback we signed, and then of course Ziggy Ansah. But the guy that really I'm kind of keyed in on is Iupati.
Mm-hmm.
That's the replacement for Sweezy, which is kind of a big deal because Sweezy played pretty well. Iupati hasn't finished the last 2 seasons because he's had injuries. But if we can keep him healthy, the dude's a road grader, and we love running the ball. I mean, he's a big man. So if he can stay healthy, healthy, I think he's going to be an integral part of that offensive line, and he's going to help us a lot as far as running the ball, which is obviously going to help Russell in the passing game. So, man, it's fingers crossed on that guy. I'm going to be watching him.
Yeah, sounds good. We also have some pretty good, like we have Simmons from last year who fit in real well at guard, just in case. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. What about you there, Mr. Happy Mistakes Man? Mr. Mike Pascal, our author, our artist, he's gonna build us a happy little arrival now. Maybe a
with a pretty tree.
It's gonna be a pretty free agent signing. I'm sure.
glad we got Bob Ross. I think he'll be good at painting the portraits of all the team.
He's gonna do really good portraits of the VMAC in Lake Washington.
Yes.
Actually, you know
his
what?
His hair actually looks like the Kingdom. Now that I'm looking at it, but
yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Being originally a Detroit guy, I'm actually looking forward to Ziggy Ansah. I've watched him during some of the Lions games. The guy was an animal early on, and maybe by being on a new team and being around the defense and that philosophy that we have, maybe it'll bring it back out and he'll do well for us.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm looking forward, and it sounds weird, but there's a couple of them. Okay, Jason Myers, not the guy from
baby.
Mike Myers. See, I did it again. Yeah. This is gonna be. You know what this is gonna be? It's gonna be what was it? Irvin, and Turbin. Mike Irvin. I kept calling Turbin and Irvin together, remember?
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be.
Michael Turbin and Bruce Irvin.
Michael Turbin and Bruce Irvin, yeah. Jason Myers, because two reasons. One is I think he's a Pro Bowl kicker, wasn't he, last year? And the second thing is we've had another year of our wonderful Aussie punter Michael Dixon learning how to hold the kick better, because he'd never done that in college. And so his first year really doing that was last year. And I'm not saying it's his fault, but I'm saying I think maybe he wasn't as good as maybe he should have been. So in another year, him practicing that is going to make him a better holder for a kicker. Myers is a better kicker. I just think it's a good combination. But the guy I really wanted to talk about is Nick Bellore, who was a linebacker for 6 years in the NFL and now playing fullback. I love this idea. If he's a hard hitter, if he just gets his body on a body, and he could knock somebody out of the way, I'll be thrilled. So I'm hoping that if he can show that he could be a true fullback in every sense of the word, then we could really have a running attack next year. So we will see.
And the Hawks like that versatility too. If he's been a linebacker previously, there's an injury, that dude would fill in.
Indeed they do. Now remember, camp creeps ever closer, July 25th. We will have a show before that. We, of course, go camping right the week before that. So mark your calendars for episode 705, the camping edition of your 12-Man Fan Jam show. But unfortunately, right now, looks like it's time to wrap up this 12-Man Fan Jam show. We're glad you joined us. We hope you laughed a little and maybe you learned a little something. We learned so much in this show. We learned that Bob Ross's hair looks like the Kingdom. We learned what some people think of Buzz. You can spin anything any way you want on this show. Nobody tickles Dustin's fancy, and Will needs more than money, people. And finally, the lesson that Dustin taught us all is rum makes you smart. So, on behalf of my partner, Cry Matt, who I hope is feeling better, for Statsman Mark, who I hope is not working too hard, our newshound Shadowhawk Will, newshound, not newshand, our newshound Shadowhawk Will. Whoa! Okay, I know. Woo! Look out. Mike Pascal, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Dustin is the Beaver. Little Mo, Doug Baldwin, Chris Carter, Rum. This is Moses saying until next time, and as always, go Hawks.
Go
Hawks.
Rum makes me smart. I'm going to go
get why is the rum gone?
Bacardi, please.
Red rum really means red smart.
Oh, there you go. Yummy.
Nice.